Troutman, and today I will be sharing issues that affect school-age children, some issues that I have seen while teaching, and then some that I have also been told about and that's been brought forth throughout my training. The first issue that I think has been really common, widespread lately is the issue of coronavirus. We have not had this issue before in prior years. That started in March of 2020, and at the time I felt like schools were not prepared for what we needed to do when the school was closed, and at the time I feel like a lot of students in turn fell behind, which caused a lot of learning gaps, and now we see a lot of um, lower test scores and things like that, just a lot of gaps between where they typically would be. Some have even fallen farther behind than where they left off. So there was a lot of time missed in the classroom, which is what caused this. Now, whenever students come back, they have to get reacquainted with how to behave, the rules and procedures of the school and the classroom. So this delays students' learning and growth as well as development. They fall behind due to missing education. And another big thing is a lot of our students are free lunch, and when they don't come to school, they might be missing meals, and they might be missing that nurturing environment that the school life can provide for them. I did some research, and it showed that test scores are lower upon students returning to school than where they left, which I kind of touched on earlier. Another big issue is that not all students have technology needed to learn asynchronously or from home. So they might not be caught up. Paper packets sometimes do not keep them on the same learning page as where the students who are face-to-face are. Another issue, some parents have to work and they're having a hard time finding childcare, which is causing strain on the child's home life, which can further cause issues, which we'll talk about here soon. I have a ton of resources that are all tied to the development and learning goals of students. What I did was I put a hyperlink here. I guess I can't click on it right now, but whenever I go to get out of this presentation, this hyperlink here will take you to a long list of resources that help enhance and push for student learning. I think family life is a big issue too for some of our students and many students around America, because some don't have that safe, nurturing home that we would really want most kids or all kids to be able to have. They may come from homes of families who don't speak English as their first language or at all. Some parents don't have custody. They kind of bounce around from house to house and move their living situation often, which can cause them to be absent sometimes and more learning gaps. Another thing is it might make the child, no matter how old or young they are, feel upset, sad, or depressed. It'll be hard for them to focus when they're at school and function at their full potential, and this could, of course, cause the student to fall behind on their learning. They also might not have the necessary resources that they need at home. Really basic stuff, paper, jackets, things to keep them warm, pencils, food, water bottles. And without consistency, it could cause a lot of confusion and feelings of isolation for the student. Two places that I have for help for the students are they can talk to their guidance counselor. So if they ever want to go talk to the counselor here, for instance, we have forms outside of her office that they can fill out. I know that I'd be more than willing to help a student fill out a form. And the Center for Family Services. So I put the website down there as well as the phone number right here. We also see a lot of poverty and homelessness. So I think it was like 26% of students live at or below poverty. This means that they don't get enough resources that are necessary, and it becomes hard again for them to function at their full academic potential. Poverty can lead children to developing physical and mental health issues. This could include lessening their ability to focus on a task and remember information. It reduces motivation and their willingness to concentrate and learn throughout the day. Students who come from poverty will most likely enter with a readiness gap, causing them to fall even further behind, which is a lot considering, or now it could be a lot considering we even have that readiness gap due to COVID in our current situation. They also might feel insecure and powerless. Okay, so it's actually 22% of students live at or below poverty. One study showed that students who live at or below poverty have higher dropout rates. And families of poverty, low income, might have a difficult time meeting the students' emotional, social, physical, and nutritional needs, which could really cause a delay in their development and growth. I think the Head Start program is a really, really awesome program for students who have that readiness gap or are projected to, students coming from poverty, because it started as a part of the War on Poverty and serves over 900,000 children today. Head Start is a program designed to meet the emotional, social, physical, and nutritional needs of students who come from low-income families. It really gives, when they're in their pre-K stage of life, a real good boost to get to where they need to be ready for school. Kind of shuts that gap there and closes that gap is what it's aimed at doing. And I actually did do work for Head Start about this time last year, so I was able to see how actually empowering and impactful those programs really are, and I do feel like they are awesome and that they do really help there. The school counselor can also address any feelings of helplessness due to poverty. So like I said before, really just reaching out to that school counselor. Teachers can encourage their students if they need to, wherever they see fit and whenever they see fit. The school counselor can help point the student in the exact direction of help needed. Issue number 4 that I thought was big enough to really include in this presentation is cyberbullying and bullying. I feel like this definitely happens with some older students. I teach first grade, but you know, the older they get, the more they're on technology and they figure out how to target and torment other students with it. So there's tons of ways that I'm sure that they can go on and do whatever. I feel like sometimes maybe parents don't even know what's going on with the technology and how it's causing bullying. But cyberbullying happens over technology. It causes emotional stress and strain on someone's life. The student may torment another student in various ways. Here's some statistics over here. Shows pretty high that 42% of kids have been bullied online. So that's a whole lot. Students who are bullied are more likely to miss, skip, or drop out of school. They're shown to have a decreased academic achievement by GPA and test scores, as well as show less participation in school. This could also cause developmental issues such as anxiety, depression, changes in eating and sleeping patterns, lonely thoughts, and a loss of interest in activities, which of course in turn links to suicide and, like we said before, depression. And another thing it can cause is mental health issues that may lead to drug use, which will lead me to my next point eventually. Here's some good sites for stopping bullying. This here is good for students, parents, and teachers to find resources that they need. It's pretty laid out, easy to navigate. Again, this here does the same. The AACAP website provides a lot of information too. They're just both so easy to navigate, so I figured I'd include them in here. When I was looking for resources, I also came across this site here, and it shows a lot of, how would I say it, scenario videos that go over bullying and kind of help put a light on what it's doing. So good for the kids to watch, I feel. Drug and alcohol abuse was another issue. I don't feel like, we hear about it as much, but it is pretty common, especially in high school and college-aged students. The reason is because of social pressure, which we saw earlier can happen due to just technology and cyberbullying, things like that. But things like that can cause drug use and risky behavior. The biggest use of drug is the vape. Students also use opioids, amphetamines, cigarettes, marijuana, and alcohol. What this can do is cause them to not focus in class due to being distracted by drugs and risky behaviors. Substance abuse can reduce inhibitions. The abuse of the drugs can cause a lot of development, emotional, physical, social, behavioral, and interpersonal issues. Research also shows that the use of drugs is linked to the dropout rate of students. What the drug can do and the complexity of it is it can cause a chemical change in your brain and body. These changes affect your managing emotions, making sound decisions, impulse control, and motivation levels. These can lead to a negative development on the brain, which is long-lasting. I found a lot of good websites, and I know a lot of them can be used for adults too, but the Addiction Group provides support online to anybody who needs it. Here's the link here. Center on Addiction in the Family is a really good place for students who really need help to go to. It's like a home that, inpatient home that will work with students on getting through and finding out exactly what they need. The Center for Disease Control, of course, has tons of info. They have a toll-free phone, a phone number. You can call at anytime. Websites right here and their emails right here. They make it super easy to reach out, which, to me just shows that they really want to help. So they can also call the Addiction Treatment Center, and that is where a personalized treatment plan will be made for each child. Let's see if I can get to links before I close out. Here's a link to, what was this for? For the coronavirus, we said additional resources. I have a ton of them here. Kind of things I've just been saving and using wherever I see applicable. Phonics, reading, writing, math, whatever it is we're working on. So, always keep this. And then for the suicide videos, I really like this page. I can show it too. Lots of videos for younger kids, for older kids. Really puts a light on bullying. Okay. Alrighty, so those were the top 5 issues that I feel affect school-age children today.